Hello, and welcome back to Comet Tales. I hope everyone is excited for some more Spelljammer Pirate Adventures in Space. For any first-time watchers or returning viewers, let's all introduce ourselves and mention any projects, streams, etc., stuff that we've been working on. Because I know that you all have been very busy or just kind of hanging out, and that's fine. It's good to always take a chill when you can. Let's start with Maris.
Okie dokie. Hello, everyone. I'm Maris, and I am playing the very posh, very British Valentine Vonderheist, the party's crack shot and fancy lady. Always happy to be here and play Comet Tales with y'all. So excited for another week of shenanigans.
Wonderful, wonderful. Next up, we have Lily.
Yes, hello. My name is Lily, and you can find me on, funnily enough, Twitter and Tumblr now. But just kind of most of my content has just been me learning to draw. So if you like watching someone's artistic journey as well as relatable transgender comics, yeah, that's what I do on my socials now. Huzzah!
It is a wonderful art journey, and I urge you to go and follow and take a look. I've been loving every second of watching Lyra Lily grow as an incredible artist.
Mm-hmm.
Up
Gotta
next,
get in on the ground floor with that girl.
we have Peculiar Little Rabbit, also known as Bee.
Hello. My name is Bee. I do variety stuff, mostly on Twitch. I really want to actually start branching out into other social medias, but socializing is hard and I don't have spoons. But beyond that, I am finally finishing up with some of my backlog of artwork so I can open up commissions again. Looking forwards to that, and looking forwards to my being able to smooch my long distance girlfriend for the first time at the end of the month.
Very, very cool.
Hell yeah!
Mm-hmm.
And last and most certainly not least, we have Azura.
Hi, my name is Azur, the Azure Dragon, a variety streamer and VTuber. Slowly making my way back to the streaming side of things, playing various games like Pokemon or actually, what else did I play? Fuck, it's been so long.
That's totally fine.
Oh yeah, Final Fantasy 14, Pokemon,
Yeah.
Yu-Gi-Oh, maybe a bit of Overwatch or whatever I tend to feel like I'm in the mood for. Sometimes Baldur's Gate, maybe. But yeah, if you like that sort of thing, it's very comfy, very cozy. Not usually too energetic, but if you like that kind of vibe, feel free to stop by.
I've been popping in every now and then, and it's always an absolutely amazing time, and you should totally pop in too. Lastly, I am your Dungeon Master and host, Oliver Oswald. I'd like to give a special thank you in particular to Distant Echoes and Boro Bound for the music that they have provided to us, and to Caitlin, also known as Frog Shop, for providing us endless amounts of character art, stream assets, map ideas, emotional support, character ideas, and so much more. Shall we hop into the adventure?
Yeah.
We shall.
In our last quest, the party made the journey through the Underside, coming to learn that while it is a dangerous place, this location is just an extension of Lex Frigate's vision, a place where individuals can be free to grow and live their lives. None more so exemplary than that of the Weaver, the person whom the party had traveled to meet. After making a long journey, the Weaver was revealed to be Lex Frigate's right-hand individual, responsible as the architect of the fleet, a Drider who utilized their powerful webs to keep the fleet in one piece. The Weaver revealed their storied past, once a former heir apparent of a Drow society and cursed into their Drider body, preventing their intended transition into who they saw themselves as. Utilizing the power of a wish, the Weaver learned how to undo the curse, using the collapse of their society as a means of propelling themselves into a position of power and aligning with Lex Frigate. The Weaver offered anything to the party should they make the agreement to assist them. The party was hesitant at first, but ultimately agreed. Weaver then utilized all their information to give great insight to the party as a whole, to Valentine, as to what her lineage commands and the legacy she stands to gain, to Lyra, the understanding of her true nature, to Zuza, the realization that dangers lurk just out of sight with her bloodline collapsing, and to Ashala, more motivation to seek out her place of origin in the Chaos Rift. Before setting the party out on their tasks, Weaver encouraged the party members to seek out their close circle. Cheryl Nimue, a powerful witch who controls the Red Light District, Clan Ison, the Master Blacksmiths, and lastly, an astrologian mage who would guide their adventure through the space storm. The party now has a new bearing: to meet with Fania in her Pyramid Casino and obtain the Githyanki Psionic Crystal before venturing off into the Chaos Rift. As we return, we are now back in the middle of the Underside City, where the option of where to travel to is entirely yours.
Who wants to take the reins? Who wants to go where they want to go?
I mean, I just presumed we're gonna go to the casino.
Yeah.
In all honesty.
Yeah, it wouldn't hurt to
Mm-hmm.
see how it is.
Okay, what way would you like to progress to the casino? Because there is the incredibly long way around, where you go through all of the districts, essentially, excluding the Merchant District. Or you can go directly through Drowtown, pass through the vast markets, and end up directly at Finia's pyramid.
Is there any way to travel in such a way that we may somehow stop by to meet this woman of the night?
You may. The Red Light District is just over this way, so you could sort of pass through and then circle back around. That is an alternative.
Well, I don't want to. I don't want to force anyone's decision, but I am finding myself rather curious about the well-being of my extended family.
Understandably so. If the worry's on your mind and it's at the forefront, perhaps maybe going would ease your mind for the rest of the venture ahead.
Yes, I imagine it would be best if I'm able to play the dice with a clear-ish conscience.
Well, I do suppose that all of us have at least something to gain around here. I hesitate to recommend that we could split up, but
Oh, heaven forbid.
heaven forbid.
Well, some manner of celestial plane forbid, at least.
And sorry, I just completely blanked out for a second. Where is the astrologian located again?
It's uncertain, but the idea was that he would go and find you. He
That's
does
right.
enjoy cards quite a bit, so there's a good chance
Okay,
you're going
yeah.
to see him at the casino.
Okay, very noted. I was trying to remember in my mind. I'm like, where was it? Was there a location? No, I was gaslighting myself.
They don't like to give out names, and they don't like to give out their location at any point in time.
Understandable.
Very enigmatic figure.
I'm all here for whatever it is that you folks would like to do. I suppose this Starseer will seek me out however they deem it appropriate.
Admittingly, my business doesn't happen to be anywhere on the fleet itself as of right now. So, at this point, I will follow where the rest of you vote for.
All right.
Well, then at least a pit stop in the red light district seems to be in order.
Alrighty. As you begin to make your way around to the red light district, you have to pass through a little bit of the Drow town, but it's not necessarily too bad. The architecture is quite elegant and takes in unusual sort of gothic structure that you weren't really expecting to sort of exist down here. And you enjoy your peaceful walk through, and you arrive at the outskirts of the red light district. As you are passing through in the red light district, where's my focus on this? You are walking through the streets when you notice an incredibly well-dressed merchant walking in the opposite direction, almost towards the party. He seems to not necessarily care about where he's walking, and he's carrying what appears to be an incredibly large sack of gold, when all of a sudden he bumps into Valentine, dropping his massive coin purse, and it spills all over the ground as dozens of children, urchins, emerge from every crevice in the ground, almost waiting for the opportunity, zooming out to grab every coin that falls out of the purse before zooming away. The merchant is entirely red-faced and doesn't even seem to be able to make out the words as he begins to huff and puff and turn towards Valentine.
I say, you should be a little more careful about what your steps, sir.
Do you understand how much gold that was, my good woman?
Well, if it was that much, perhaps you should have kept a closer watch on your purse's strings, hmm?
Well, surely you'll find a means to repay.
And as soon as he begins to start huffing and puffing, it seems that a different altercation is occurring a little bit further down the street. And upon seeing this, the van begins to hurry away, not even bothering to finish the argument. And as you see in the background,
Cheek.
as you see even further back, it seems that more individuals are beginning to join this altercation. You realize the makings of a gang war are occurring.
Oh.
Oh dear.
Are we still entirely certain that we want to be in the red light district?
There seem to be other side streets that you can take to reach towards your objective. But it seems that the more direct path that you are planning on taking is no longer in question.
How many people would you say, just at a glance, are involved?
You're looking at like 50 people that are about to start pulling out dueling pistols.
We're gonna take a little detour, I think.
50 altogether, essentially.
Goodness. Well, the property value must be very manageable down here.
Perhaps we should invest.
Ashala, can you make me a perception check?
I will do so. I'm meant to be good at these, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
seemingly
As
so.
a matter of
25.
fact, you are.
A dirty, nasty little 25.
Sort of being familiar with the ongoings that can occur between the various groups. Oh my goodness. Thank you for the follow. I need to remember to disable that a little bit later. You immediately recognize a way to circle out and get a little bit closer towards where you need to be. Interestingly enough, something that you also happen to notice is that a former employee of your father, Skaith, the Steel Serpent, seems to be just sort of out and about in the red light district, not even participating in any of the dueling, just sitting out on what seems to be a bench and just enjoying himself. watching the ongoings. But unfortunately, it doesn't seem like a good opportunity to go and reach out. But at least you're aware that they are nearby.
Curious, who is this individual?
This individual goes by the name of Mordan. They are an astral elf who used to be a member of the Federation and were quite the skilled enforcer before they didn't like the way that a certain set of frontier justice was being doled out, so they decided to take it into their own hands.
Ah, okay. So, Morden, Astral Elf.
That's the spelling that
Vods
I have
group.
done.
Yeah. Morden Eris.
Oh,
They
that's my
were-
favorite Final Fantasy VII character.
Eris,
They were essentially the right hand, and they were quite fond of helping you out whenever they could. For example, sneaking little sweets out to you during dinner time, and just kind of taking you on all sorts of little
Nice.
trips to go see the stars when you entered a particularly nice district. Essentially, the more comfortable person that you would imagine as being part of your it takes a village to raise a child.
Hmm.
nice. But now doesn't seem to be the time.
Wrong one.
I'll just flash a very curious look, but proceed to carry on as the party continues onward.
He gives a very quick glance before a puff of smoke from all of the pistols on either side of the street begin to erupt, and that section of the street is just completely gone.
Yes, time to go.
Oh, question. Would there perhaps be, I don't know, some manner of carnivorous fish people and airborne warforged that have some kind of dispute here?
Oh,
Oh my god.
oh no! Go ahead and make me a history check with disadvantage since you're
Roll to-
unfamiliar with this territory.
Roll to West Side Story.
That's a negative. Oh, sorry, no, that's just a natural one.
That is a natural one. Interestingly enough, you
Oh.
do recall, despite everything that has happened, and your memory is very foggy, you're just incredibly hungry, but you reach a sense of clarity and zen somehow. And you recall that there was an unusual group that was described as the Sharks and the Jets by a particular innkeep who had asked you to look for a certain individual. You cannot, for the life of you, recall any of the politics that were ongoing. And you begin to wonder if perhaps either of those could have been the groups you had mentioned. But you have no intention of necessarily finding out, nor do you really care particularly about petty gang rivalries.
Interesting.
Thank
So do
you.
They call it the red light district because it's so dangerous. That's what I'm picking up, at least.
It has something to do with lanterns. At least that's what I've heard. Not that I
Proceeding-
would ever be allowed to go in here.
Proceeding much further into the red light district, you begin to notice that many of the structures getting closer towards the castle on the top of the hill seem to take on an unusual but finely crafted wooden nature. Symbols in a language somewhat different from common and more akin to magic runes in shape and style line the streets. Beautiful men and women line the streets, each calling out an unusual form of undercommon, seemingly inviting those on the street into their business. A different wealthy merchant seems absolutely devastated, crying out outside of one building, vowing his return to an even more elegantly dressed woman who waves him off politely and covers up her face in silks and fans. At the peak of the district, a castle, built to be tall, is stacked floor after floor on top of one another, with beautiful banners flowing out in the underdark wind. Red lanterns line a long bridge that directs both merchants and courtesans into its main floor. Quickly entering and passing through the wooden tower, a central stairwell seems to lead where you imagine Cheryl would reside, the top of the tower. Progressing up each floor, the patrons seemingly become more scarce, as do the individuals providing services. The top floor ends with a grand view of the rest of the underside, a grand set of double doors leading to what appears to be the sanctum of the witch. The potent smell of incense eases your senses before you can even open the doors. A sort of veiled platform rests in the center of the room, and the outline of a woman rests within. Two enormous, silken-robed, blue-skinned women, mercanes, sit on either side, their gaze unfalteringly pressing upon you.
Very interesting indeed. It would seem that the Dear Weaver has made some interesting friends. Would you not agree?
The two attendants seem very cheerful and give gentle and affirming nods, inviting the party to take a seat in front of the veil.
Right?
Is it okay that they know about that?
You surely must be
Oh,
of someone.
I imagine with a
Important.
person as important as the Weaver that a great many people would have their eyes on the front door.
As you all take your seats, the two massive, almost 12 feet tall Mercane women stand and gently pull the veil aside to reveal Cheryl.
Ooh.
Her outline would be almost impossible to hide entirely behind the veil, and you imagine it'd be very difficult to hide in any sort of outfit. Naturally, her current outfit takes every advantage of this, showing off much of her form. A tight corselet and short, graceful cloth cover her torso and legs. Her legs sit crossed as if expectant, the tapping of her boots audible from behind the veil. Gazing upon her face, she wears a massive hat that seems to hide much of her long green hair, decorated only with a single gold ornament. A lantern floats nearby to her, occasionally coming to rest at the ground below her feet.
I see that all of you have come to visit. So, fate does not bring you my way so easily. What is it that you seek?
And out of character, real quick. Since we would have figured this out beforehand, what exactly are we seeking here?
In particular, Cheryl is offering, well, not offering necessarily, but if you are looking for sort of anything to have happen, you tend to reach out to Cheryl, who may have some guidance on it. In particular, the Weaver suggested that you visit her to see if you can get a little bit of better binding on the sun-devouring wolf in particular, given that Cheryl had once helped in binding it a little bit further into your bloodline.
Okay. So sort of all-purpose, this is who we go to when we have some kind of problem.
Essentially, if you're looking for the sort of alchemical solution to any problem ever, this is the person that you would reach out to.
Yes, well, if I were to be so bold, it seems that you've already made yourself familiar with us. I would like to inquire about the nature of my condition. I believe you're well familiar with it. I've been told you have done some quite notable work on it, even.
Step forward. Let me observe you.
I step.
She kind of glances you up and down for a moment and goes, Well, go on, spin. Let's see everything, shall we?
Okay, yeah, I spin. I've still got the silly little nobility clothing on, so it kind of flirls out.
Very good. It seems your faculties are all in touch.
I have been noticing, as of very late, that I've been feeling a bit on edge. I'm concerned that there may be something slipping, perhaps.
Let me see for just a moment.
And the lantern drifts directly in front of Cheryl. And rather than the gentle orange flame that once filled the room, everything goes dark, and a blue flame emerges in the lantern.
In your family, how many individuals would you say that you are aware of? 6, 7 in possession of the blood? Your grandparents,
Goodness.
yourself?
I must admit I've not been availed of any possible branch families, but I would say that I was told there were at least perhaps a dozen or so across several generations by this point.
She snaps her fingers, and 5 flames brighten.
These are the remaining sparks. As of perhaps the last month, one of the flames,
And she reaches up gently and squishes it and smothers the flame in her fingers.
has been extinguished.
Oh,
Part of what I had told your family a long time ago was to be prolific. Your longevity is a blessing and a curse. I'm not suggesting you do something in particular to change that, but...
And she opens her hand up, and a different flame, not blue, but black, gently rises from her hand.
There is one other who shares your lineage, and they are not to be trifled with. I suggest, under all circumstances, you avoid this individual, as they seem to be keen on the snuffing of light. As for your current condition, I'd imagine that the loss of, as you say, about 7 individuals is not good for anything that would involve your physical or mental health.
out
In
of
this-
character, real quick.
Go on.
Was Zuza aware of any of these particular passings in the family?
It's one of those things where you kind of don't recognize it, as it kind of just becomes a sort of white noise in the back of your mind. And it's not as if this was all at once. This is over what seems to be a very long period of time.
All right.
And it's that sort of issue in philosophy that your parents may not have agreed with, where, well, I don't know if we should spread out the wolf in a way that, is going to become untrackable so that the wolf is spread so thin that it doesn't become an issue. I think we should keep very good track of it. And that's why your family has a very good knowledge on the members of the bloodline that exist. But it would seem somehow that recently one has slipped through the cracks. As for your present condition, the lantern is going to slowly drift towards you, and almost like emerging from the fog, Cheryl appears standing directly behind you and sort of leans over to sort of get a good look directly into your face.
Fully goosebumps.
She's going to take a bit of dust from a pouch that she has sitting on her hip, and is going to place that into your hand. I want you to consume this very slowly. It's not the most pleasant thing. Before drifting back and appearing, almost laying down comfortably in the grand chair throne of sorts.
Oh, all right. I think I probably have some manner of water holding. I have a water skin on me. I'll try and start taking that.
Go ahead and roll a Constitution save.
All right. Uh, 17.
17. As you
Also an 11 on the wisdom save.
Yes. As you consume this unusual powder, the room suddenly becomes incredibly warm, almost unbearably warm, and you feel like you're beginning to sweat profusely. Cheryl, on the other hand, seems to be kind of looking you over for reactions of some kind, but there don't seem to be any of the ones that she was anticipating.
Goodness, it's rather warm in here. Is that the intent, to sweat a fever out?
Not quite. Well, I suppose you could call it something like that. More of a metabolism burner, if you would.
I see.
A bit of, to call it an aphrodisiac would be improper.
Full blush. It's like the brightness that she eats out of things is just being radiated out.
Your condition is one of entropy, one of lack of stimulation. This is meant to invert that temporarily. You may begin noticing some side effects, but they are entirely intentional. At the very most, just be aware that your bite may be a bit colder than you would expect. The world around you is going to seem very, very warm. Enjoy it. It's not necessarily something to be displeased with. And it was the choice of your great-great-grandfather. I've lost track of the time, and I don't necessarily keep tabs on every lineage that I'm trying to maintain, but if you experience side effects, your debt has already been paid long, long ago.
It has? You mean that of mine family?
That it has. Zuza, going forward, anytime you make bite attacks or claw attacks or anything of the sort, you can add a 1d6 ice or cold damage to that.
Ooh. Okay.
As you feel the hunger of the wolf seemingly subside. It's not quite liberating the feeling of immense hunger, but you do feel much better about the sudden need to feed. It is more of just a snacking hunger you feel now.
Right. Well, I do feel rather improved. Trying hard not to make direct eye contact. Are there any other side effects I should be aware of? You mentioned something of a comparison to aphrodisiacs, was it?
Yes, many times when you hear of these love potions and all of those nonsensical things, fantasy is really what it is. A lot of times it's simply meant to drive up your metabolism. It's all in the mind, truly.
Speaking of the mind, Charlotte, go ahead and make a Constitution saving throw.
Huh. Curious.
She's getting drugged.
I shall make a Constitution saving throw. No.
9. Okay, go ahead and make a wisdom check. Currently, ever since you entered the room, you started to get a bad headache, and you started to feel like it was entirely from...
No!
Wow. Natural 1. At first, you started to feel like it was a headache at first. Something brought on by the incense. It's not negative smelling, but it's not the most pleasant thing in the world. You kind of feel almost that urge to throw up a little bit in the back of your mind. And then once you finally acknowledge it, you kind of take a look at Cheryl and your head starts to go numb and just hurt. And you almost have to like hold your head down and look away. It is agonizing. Cheryl immediately sort of does like a little circle with her hands, and the veil closes and the feeling subsides immediately.
My apologies. I don't believe I know you like I am familiar with the others. That... Tell me, you are psionically attuned, yes?
Yes, attuned, lacking that knowledge of, but yes, I am, gifted with such capabilities.
That would be the case. Here, take some of this.
And she, you see a mage hand sort of appear and drift off into the distance and start pulling at a large alchemical cabinet that sort of lines the wall that you didn't necessarily acknowledge until this point. And a sort of glowing, wispful leaf is sort of drawn and brought to you.
Make this into a tea. It is designed to help your psionic attunement. What you just experienced was... Forgive me, I tend to dabble in the psionic arts. It's not quite my field of expertise. I've had a long time to practice different things. I assist with maintaining a fraction of the fleet. The air bubble that you feel all around you, I maintain the psychic field of that. I don't necessarily know the extents of my strength after holding on to it for so long, so I apologize if I overwhelmed you with a psionic presence.
None taken. I'll definitely make some use of the tea later when I get to moment.
If you are interested in learning more about how to enhance your abilities, I believe that obtaining more of this might be in your favor. It may enhance your psionic abilities temporarily. It is known as wispweed. It tends to grow in fringe locations on the edges of various rifts of sorts, but I'd imagine that you can find quite a bit of it in the marketplaces. Something like this, she kind of gets as much of a glance as she can get from behind the veil. Something like this may serve your summoning abilities. You're able to draw upon psionic forces and perhaps weaponize them. This may hone those edges to some degree.
I can certainly do that. I will definitely look into that. But I assume it's not a cheap fix. I'm assuming.
It truly depends on where you are. Seek out more of the Mercane merchants, as you see by my two attendants here. And perhaps they may assist you to some degree. We have something of a tight network, them and I. I'm certain that it will be useful for you and our mutual friend.
Duly noted.
So you can go ahead and add 3 servings of wispweed to your inventory, and they give you a +1 to hit and to damage for any of your psionic specific attacks or abilities. Consider the cost my apologies.
That's mighty kind of you.
If you don't mind, you spoke earlier that you knew, well, all of us, but I suppose since I seem to be on a journey of self-discovery today, I would be remiss to not ask what you might know about myself and my dear sister here.
What I know of House Vonderheist, or of your individual origins, perhaps?
I mean, I suppose, if you knew our father and could corroborate a story, then she looks over at Valentine. I think that would be quite beneficial right now for our means.
Seems everyone seems to know about our family except us.
I personally was not acquainted with Victor, though I did find him attempting to charm his way into my space to
obtain my help quite enjoyable. He never quite made it all the way.
Valentine's eyebrows just shoot up into her forehead.
He didn't quite make it all the way up this tower, but he certainly did get quite far for a man.
So we got farther than our father, did we?
That you did, though he didn't necessarily have an invitation, did he?
The nerve.
Yes, I was in the middle of quite the tea party when all of a sudden I hear the sounds of your father being dragged down 7 floors of the tower. Quite loud, you could hear him all the way from the top. In any case, like as I said, I never truly met him personally.
Clearly his voice left an impression, though.
That he did. Perhaps you two will do the same. Maybe not in the same manner, but hopefully.
Well, I certainly don't intend on screaming through the duration of 7 floors of our exit.
You see her hand sort of like gesture outwardly. If you're looking to enjoy some of the services, I'd imagine that it's paid for to some degree. I will have to speak with our mutual friend to get confirmation on that, but as long as you are here, you are my guests, so please do enjoy yourselves.
Well, what other services can you offer that might help us on our way?
Myself and my partner, who is seemingly preoccupied at the moment on his own quest to procure me some ingredients. Typically, we would provide you alchemical solutions. If you are, say, looking to permanently affix a spell to yourselves, we can provide that service. If you are missing a limb, we would be able to conjure up something in its place. If you're looking for particular potions or healing elixirs or anything of that sort, we specialize in that. And if you're looking for something more topical for the district, I suppose we offer those services as well.
Surely you don't mean that you yourself offer all manner of those body services, though, of course.
Asking for a friend.
The room suddenly feels very, very heavy. And the 2 Mercane attendants just sort of give you a look almost dumbstruck. And it's that sort of heavy silence where you're not sure if you did something wrong. No. But I do, in fact, admire your curiosity. I have not offered those services in a very, very long time.
I'm sure they are sorely missed. Internally just screaming.
Listen, she got fed a little bit of horny juice. This is the side effects.
It is in fact the side effect. It does increase the metabolism.
I wonder if I use my psionic ability. What can I hear Zuza scream?
I'd allow it.
You know what? I'd imagine that, given how frequently that you guys are in situations, I'd imagine that you possibly use your side-boosted knack, just like, hey, just in case we get split up, let's keep in contact.
Right, of course.
Go ahead and roll a deception, Zuza, and roll an insight, Ashala.
Okay.
Zuza, roll with disadvantage, by the way.
I would have even if you hadn't asked.
Except it wouldn't matter in the slightest.
Yep.
Despite the immense mental anguish that you just went through, the veil has given you a little bit more clarity and eased your headache. And the only thing that you can seemingly hear louder than the thoughts of the immense psychic power that Cheryl seemingly holds on a whim is the screaming of Zuza Sylvana's mojo.
I'm just gonna kind of just like look to Zuza and think louder, darling.
Oh god. She has become a dim light source.
The rest of the room fills with light as she restores the proper lighting. Forgive, that light may have been a bit moody in the sorts. Was there anything else you were interested in?
Well, not to backtrack a little bit, but while you didn't meet our father exactly, do you perhaps have any insight as to what it was that he wanted? What he was asking for?
I tend to hold rare alchemical items. One in particular that he may have been searching for. And the little lamp is going to sort of float in front of everyone, and is going to open up very gently. This is the eye of a solar dragon. My husband had gone and taken one of them, and he heard rumor that tell that there was perhaps still a second one or more to be obtained. They do, in fact, have many eyes, depending on the nature of the star itself that the dragon inhabits. But he was interested in taking this one. I thought it quite bold and amusing.
What exactly would an eye do?
Well, our dear Weaver needs it as part of a purification ritual of sorts. I'm sure that you've gotten all the details, and I don't need to rehash on such a long and storied history. But essentially, if I am to understand this ritual correctly, the dear Weaver was corrupted in the dark by using a source of sheer liberation that may be the start to pulling the Weaver out of the dark. That is but one step, and it's not something that I'm particularly familiar with myself, though, and she turns towards Zuza, it may serve as a similar cure to your people, though I'd imagine you might want to move quickly, because it would seem that there's something much more interested in what happens when the light goes out on your side.
Yes, that is rather worrying. Still, like she's here on the physical level. She is still not fully gotten back here on any other level, I think.
Fair and valid. But yes, I believe he came to steal it, and I am unfamiliar with his exploits in particular, but it would seem that your house is not particularly known for its stealthing.
Well, I don't see why it would need to be. I mean, stealing certainly doesn't seem like something our father would do. I'm sure there was a misunderstanding about the whole thing.
If I am to recall the history correctly, let me recall thoroughly. I believe I was remotely distant, or at least listening in on some communications with the Dear Weaver, when I heard Victor arrive and offer anything in exchange to free a particular woman from a distant planet, a Federation planet. The Weaver, indeed, promised any and all assistance should he obtain the eye of a solar dragon. His first step, without hesitation, was to go out the door and directly towards me. Unfortunately, almost everyone within a half mile saw him barreling through the door and charging up the stairs, and I was curious to see how far he would go past some magical wards. He was quite determined, and it was, in my humble opinion, the easiest way. But I suppose killing a solar dragon makes for quite the story.
One that
Yeah.
you seem to manage to have accomplished over time.
If he managed to kill a solar dragon, what would he need your eye for?
Well, I believe he came to me first, attempting
I
to
see.
take this one, and not go out and hunt the dragon on his own.
I see. One plan fails, another door opens, I suppose.
Indeed.
Plan A.
That's awfully
Seems-
dramatic of him.
Indeed, it seems strange to me that he would resort to, if this wild tale of our papa seems to be true, that he would resort to stealing first and glory second. The little bits of ways that he hunts was always about the thrill, if you will.
The thrill, honor and glory and manly stuff like that.
Well, let's be fair. No one simply tussles with a dragon of any variety, let alone a solar dragon.
It's been a minute since I've fought one myself. Can't quite recall what was done at the time, it's been so long, but personally, I would take the easy way out. And it was quite direct.
Either way, we appreciate your knowledge on the subject. It is a lot to take in for a single day, and yet I fear that it is only beginning in terms of revelation.
So it would seem. I believe the best source of information may be to reach out directly. When was the last time you've spoken to your father?
Considerable number of weeks.
We left home, what was it, about at least like 3 or 4 months ago, I would have to imagine at this point.
I see. Well, should you ever make the journey back, thank him for the shipments. I forget what it was specifically. Perhaps a flower from a Federation colony. He still does deliver things on the occasion, but it hasn't been over a decade since he's made the visit himself. Not that I've ever seen him in person.
So let me get this straight. According to you, our father comes barreling in, trying to steal a solar dragon's eye from you, is escorted out after his failed attempt, and he's sending gifts.
Invited to do business is the way that I would personally put it. But yes, I think, in fact, the proposition to continue to do business after such a bold attempt was interesting, to say the least. I found it charming to some degree. In which case, yes, I did take him up on his offer and continue to do trade with him. Though he hasn't sent a shipment in quite a number of years directly towards my organization.
I'm absolutely. She's turning to the library. I'm absolutely gawking at the audacity of this depiction of our father.
The fact that he
Depiction?
would have. Well,
You view it in a negative light.
it's not necessarily that it's a negative light, it's just fact-
A little alarming.
It
Alarming.
seems rather in character, what I have heard of him secondhand.
Consider
Yes.
your father something of a somewhat beloved individual in this community. I make a home for those who are unwanted, those who are considered outcasts, and I give them a home. They are free to do whatever it is that they'd like, and they are generally freed from their shackles when there are any. But for those who suffer from afflictions, those people are graced with all manner of cure-alls and medicines that are only made possible through the smuggling work of your father.
Now, smuggling is not the is not the word that I would use.
And what word exactly would you use? She is very, very curious as to what the story is being told on your
I
end.
am also very curious now. This has
Legal-
distracted me from being horny.
Legal enterprise, of course. He's a businessman.
We hold many balls at our home abode in order to strengthen the bonds between us and other fringe members of the Federation, I believe. I never really exactly been let into the business, but that is what we have lived. You don't realize how many balls that myself and Valentine have had to go to in order to put on a front so that dear Papa can look as prim and proper as possible.
Very intriguing. I suppose that existing on the fringe of Federation space would encourage such displays of generosity.
And besides, Valentine, I suppose your bond with him has always been a bit stronger, but I mean, he's gone on hunting trips that he's taken you on. So when would he have had the time for this?
Frankly, I mean, no offense, of course, but the fact that so many people here at the fleet know our father is surprising, to say the least.
He is, and ever has been, a man of the people. And it's hard not to get behind an underdog folk hero. Though
The
there are
letter-
many such of the sort.
The letter I am mentally composing in my head is getting progressively longer.
Well, I mean, part of the reason that you and I ran away was to strike out on our own and build our own legacy.
Yes, and
discover
now
our-
I'm learning that I'm competing with my father's.
That is rather rude of him.
Considerably.
Roll a deception, Valentine.
We're telling the truth in our heads.
Ooh, that's a 9.
You can't see it from behind the veil, but you can almost feel a smile growing on the other side. I see. Well, your father, Victor, was known as something of a solitary hero among the people. He didn't slay the dragon on his own, if I'm to understand the story correctly. But that's not to say he didn't acquire the resources and the friends on his own.
And I'm to assume that the friends in question came from the fleet?
In various manners, they've come from all sorts of places, but your father was not known as a leader and one to guide people. It would seem that our dear Weaver sees something different in you. Something that I personally am interested in seeing myself.
Well, I suppose I'll have to find the truth from the man himself, should he wish to divulge. But in the meantime, I think I can speak for us all when I thank you for your own honesty and information.
Her hat sort of levitates off her head and sort of descends in front of her, as close to a bow as she probably is willing to do, and just sort of leans back in her chair. Should you need more information, I'm certain that you will seek me out when you need, though I'm certain that there are potentially other sources of information that you are interested in. And she kind of gives a glance to her longer nails, and sort of clacks them a little bit before you could feel her glance piercing through the veil.
Let's be on our way then. Hard to say what time it is, but I feel like we are getting on with.
It is, based on just body feel, probably getting towards somewhere in the mid to late afternoon. And this evening, as you know, is the big arena fight. But you'd likely have time to go and visit Vania.
Yes, I think we ought to pay her a visit. Pick her brain as well.
Yes, well, thank you once more, Miss Nimoy. You've been of the utmost assistance to all of us, I'm sure.
She sort of gives you a very elegant wave off, and you're almost reminded of that courtesan waving to that wealthy merchant, and you almost wonder where she might have learned that from. And as you're kind of progressing down, you start to get little bits and pieces of seeing a little bit of what she mentioned. In some of the higher floors, where it seems to be more managed and the more extremely expensive and elegant courtesans are, you also see some servants who seem to be less than the most fortunate, who are given an opportunity to work. People who might perhaps be missing some limbs that have sort of combined alchemical ones, or perhaps warforged-like limbs. People who are seemingly wrapped up and infirm on a separate floor, that are being maintained by other courtesans that are kind of like casting small healing spells and teaching them. You get the sense that this is a very caring and combined community. A lot of it is bringing individuals up. And you imagine
it's a very Princess Mononoke Iron Town kind of vibe here.
Exactly.
Okay.
And you make your way out of the grand bathhouse, essentially, and are back onto the red light district streets. I imagine the plan is to directly head towards the casino.
I believe so.
Okay. Try that one more time. Once more, returning to the busy streets as you progress your way through multitude of different districts, essentially going from the opposite end of the entirety of the underside to Vania's side. You cross into what feels like a sort of empty street, when all of a sudden a vast rumbling begins to erupt from the ground. And you're uncertain of where it could necessarily be coming from. When all of a sudden...
Oh.
An absolutely massive creature burrows up from the ground and emerges.
Ooh.
Absolutely horrific in nature. Go ahead and everyone roll for initiative.
Oh boy. Man, gang warfare, giant worms. This neighborhood kinda sucks.
Yeesh.
Ugh. You're all or nothing today.
Apparently so.
Ooh.
Take that.
Ooh.
All right. Just as a quick reminder, call to arms. Anyone who does a weapon attack roll has advantage on it for this first round.
Let's go.
In one of the buildings, you happen to see a very, very familiar green individual
No.
Oh no!
suddenly turn and begin screaming quite loudly.
No!
Wow, 23.
The boy! The man!
He just finished his lunch break.
That
No, you
is
can't have this burger. It's mine.
Okay.
Get away from my burger.
Starting at the... Why is this descending this way? There we go. Starting at the top of the initiative is Groba.
Let's go, Groba.
Come on, Groba.
I don't know who you are. You get away from my burgers. And he fully charges as fast as he can and strikes using his weapon known as the Frog Tongue.
Ooh.
Rolling a 22 to hit, which will absolutely hit. He's going to go ahead and roll for damage, and he also gets to use Rakish Audacity to allow himself to go ahead and get extra sneak attack damage. Is going to deal 18 points of damage to this massive creature. Up next is Zuza.
Really?
Isn't
Yes. Is it?
That doesn't seem right. I
Lyra.
only got a 12.
Oh, I don't know why that shows on. I have do different things on different screens. Okay, next
Looks
is
like
Lyra.
it should
Yes.
be Lyra or Valentine.
Yes, I apologize. There's something wrong on one of my screens.
That's alright.
You're fine, you're fine. Oh god, I was totally too caught up in Frog to be thinking about my turn.
It do be like that.
Too caught up in the joy of living in a world with Frog.
It's true. Okay. So, let's see. I think Lyra is kind of just like, she's had a wild day. With revelations in general, her mind is quite clouded. So I imagine she's just going to kind of just be like taken off and just going to enter into more of a defensive mode. So I'm just going to, I'll draw it later, but I'm essentially just going to try and cast Web on the general vicinity of this creature and just this creature.
Okay.
So that is a DC 18, and I will draw the box while the rest happens.
Certainly. And it is making a... What
I think
save?
it's a dex save?
Dex save? Okay.
Yeah.
Dex save. That is a 16.
Okay, then it is webbed.
Very
Yeah.
good. Okay.
I will draw that while we move on. But sorry, bonus action, though. I think she would shift into like, her mind is kind of like on like a little way, but is in, as I said, in pure defense mode. So she's going to shift into the chalice. So as you see the stars like come to circle up her body, the same sort of cloudy nebula that seems to be, it sort of takes over the rest of her body, and like what would normally be a clear constellation of a chalice is kind of just like, it's a little muddy, it's a little foggy, but she nonetheless is covered with the same stars that she always has.
Okay. Very nice. Up next is Valentine.
Okie dokie, she's gonna scooch up a wee bit. I think that puts me in range. Yes, it does. She's gonna whip out her newly modified weapon, the Ripley's Rapid Fire,
Yes.
and we're gonna try and pelt this thing with some bullets.
Go for it.
That's a 15 to hit.
A 15 will hit, yes.
Yeah,
Go ahead and roll for
let's
damage.
go. All right, so that's gonna be 12 damage.
Very nice.
Okay, and you know what? We're gonna Cox gun. We're gonna do it again. Hopefully,
Okay.
that's a
Yeah.
Natural 20. Ooh, that's gonna hurt.
Oh, doesn't that mean you get grit back?
You do get grip back for that, yes.
I do.
Hell yeah.
Oh, that's 25 damage.
Oh my god!
Okay, very good.
Yeah,
You just hear the gears turning.
Yeah.
What can he do? What can he do?
It just emerges from the ground. Just...
Hey. This is doing much better. Could get used to this.
keep in mind that that is fire damage specifically.
Yes.
Oh, that's right.
Oh.
So that would catch the web on fire, right?
That
Oh no.
does, in fact, catch the web on fire.
You know, it's totally fine.
It was a sort of flinch reaction. The two of you sort of both
Yeah.
coming out in a sort of pronged reaction. You both know kind of what you were going to do.
Listen, we're a little out of sync, but we get the job done.
You do, in fact, get the job done.
On the plus side, it's 2d4 extra damage.
Hell yeah, let's get the big.
Yeah.
2 damage.
Up next is Zuza. While that happens, I'm going to go look at the character sheet for this thing, because I have not looked at this thing since I set it up like 2 weeks ago, or like 3 weeks ago, probably more.
What you doing, B?
Ah, right, sorry. Let's see. Well, I'm not entirely sure what or how much I can do with these. So I guess. Right, well, let's get right into things then, shall we? Let's start by trying to get up somewhere a little higher ground. So let's go 1, 2. Let's see, is there a limit on the distance for this? Within 60 feet. Okay, let's see. There we go. Okay, I'm gonna have to go a little further up. Alright, so let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And well, let's go 6 just to be safe. Alright. Right, well, I haven't the faintest idea what this is, but Mr. Gorgog. Oh, my apologies. Gruber.
Groba.
I'm terribly sorry. Dear Mr. Gruber, do be careful there, and if you get a chance, it looks like there may be some openings in its chitinous shell, around about where the legs extrude. And I should say that Ashala, perhaps this is also something of precise maneuver that you could handle. I'm giving one of my attacks to Gruber, one of my attacks to Ashala, and I still have no idea. Is there a way to kind of get a sense of, like, has this thing been meaningfully hurt yet?
Go ahead and make a insight check.
Also, just wanted to confirm, when you give us your attacks, is it something that we do, like, in the moment now, or is it just in our turn?
On your turn.
Okay.
In our turn.
That's only a 10. I doubt that's anything.
This thing is absolutely pissed. That's the only thing that you can tell.
Yes, that does seem about right, unfortunately. Very well. I suppose fisticuffs will have to do. Rolling up sleeve as I stretch out my mouth. And, yeah, I guess that'll be my turn.
Okay. My turn order is completely devastated.
Oh no!
For me, it says that both Ashala and the worm are up next, so I'm going to trust the audience to tell me. The audience and the players tell
The
me.
worm.
It's
the
the worm
has
time.
a 10.
Okay. And Ashala, you have a 4?
I'm not sure how
Yeah.
the point 16
Okay,
got
just
there.
making sure that's...
That would be the tiebreaker, because I have a dexterity of 16.
Oh.
I
So
see, okay.
if me and a creature ever happen to hit 4, then it would boil down to who has the high dexterity score.
Very cool. Okay. The worm, having been absolutely devastated in the last few seconds, is going to turn to the closest thing next to it, Groba, and is going to grab it using its pincers.
Oh no!
That is a 23 to hit.
Oh
It's understandable.
Oh,
Yeah.
it did not work. Okay, very
Uh-oh.
cool. Well, that's fine. We can
no!
just
Not
roll.
repeating underscore NPC action.
We can just do it the old-fashioned way.
Hmm.
Oh no. Take a big munch out of frog.
Oh no!
He takes 28 points of damage, and he is going to make a Constitution saving throw.
Oh
He rolls a 4.
no! Oh
What does that number say again? That number seems,
Which number? The damage number?
He takes an additional 18 points of damage.
Oh no!
The worm is now going to turn, and you don't imagine that this thing has eyes that could glare, but you do in fact feel it glaring in the direction of Valentine.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
It's understandable.
5, 10, 15, 20, 25.
Ooh.
And as it gets to the crystal, it starts climbing.
Oh, no.
30, 35,
No, no, no,
40.
no, no. You stay right there.
Oh dear.
And you see all of its jaw mandibles sort of open up, and a beam of light bursts out in front of it.
Oh,
And it casts a mind blast in your general direction.
in your general direction.
Roll a wisdom save throw.
You got it, boss. 19.
You pass. You take half damage, so you take 11 points of damage.
Alrighty.
And that will end its turn. Ashala, you're up.
Ooh, oh, by the way, did it like drop Gruba or?
I am doing that now, but I don't think it did. I think he's quite tanky. He's feeling bad though.
Oh no! I meant like, did it like toss him aside to come at Valentine?
Oh, yes, it did.
Okay.
Our poor frog.
It sort of grabbed him, picked him up, and went crunch, and then dropped him.
Oh, Groba.
Boy.
Well, I think it'd be probably a good opportunity to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, I can't exactly get quite up in its face. I actually could move over here. That way, barring this one, a way to move forward. Let's say one of my attacks can be with, I'm gonna say, the Psychic Blade, and because it's my first time, I do believe it's with advantage.
It is
Thanks,
indeed.
Azusa.
And that gives you sneak attack as well.
It does.
Oh, well, thank goodness.
23 will in fact hit. Go ahead and roll for damage.
Good.
Yep. So I shall do so. Psychic Blade, go. Oof. Yeah, actually, no, I actually rolled pretty good, funnily enough. So yeah,
Yeah, pretty good.
yeah. So to
But 21 points?
1 psychic damage.
Yeah, that's pretty big damage.
Hmm.
Wow, that's really big on a psychic blade. Wow, that's really cool. All right. We roll back to, I believe, Groba. I don't know why the chat
Oh,
order
I
has.
mean, I still have an.
Oh yes, yes.
Which yeah, I don't get advantage this time around. That's fine. And I think it would be probably a good idea. Bonus action. What can I do with a bonus action? It's been a while since I've used. Take the bonus action on your turn to dash, disengage, or hide. Well, I don't think I would be moving from this spot, so yeah, that'd be it.
Okay. That will circle us back to Groba, who is bleeding. There are acidic, sizzling sounds coming from his leather armor, and he's going, "Ow, ow!" And he's just seemingly just having the worst day he's had in a really long time. It's just fighting.
No.
We keep ruining this man's whole career.
And he is going to muster up whatever courage he has and charge once more. And it's going to go for a double stab with his frog tongue.
Yeah.
The first one will hit.
Oh.
If I do it from this one. There we go, that works.
Yeah, I was like, why did that fail for when it worked the first time?
We'll
Roll
deal-
20?
Yeah, I don't know why. And we'll deal 24 points of damage to this big creature. And then he will use his bonus action, cunning action, to disengage and begin backing up because he does not want to get grabbed and stabbed again.
Oh, did he use his second attack?
Yes, he missed on a 14.
Ah, okay.
Up next is Valentine.
Okie dokie. That is close enough. You know what? We shooting. We firing. That's a 22 to hit.
22 to hit will hit. Go ahead and roll for damage.
15. I'm gonna re-roll one of those with my piercer ability.
Okay.
Let's see. Oh, jeez. I know how to play this.
roll
I know how
20.
to play this
No,
game.
roll 20. Come on.
That's much
huge.
better.
Okay.
Yeah. That's 20 damage,
20,
I think?
yeah.
20 damage.
20 is 20. Okay.
I do it again. 24 to hit.
Go ahead and roll for damage.
Oh.
14 damage.
That's really, really big. Okay. As you're kind of sitting back and you're preparing this, you're seeing it charge closer, and as it's getting closer, you're getting kind of better aim on it, and you start blasting, and you start to blast off parts of its chitinous hide. But it's still beelining straight in your direction. It is not happy.
I'm gonna back up.
Yeah, fair.
It's not a bad idea.
I'm gonna go over 5, 10, 15, 20. I'm gonna go over here.
And is that everything for your
That
turn?
is everything.
Up next is Lyra.
Okay. I'm gonna try and heal Groba.
Yeah.
I need to get a little bit closer, unfortunately. So I think that should be close enough. Yeah, that is exactly close enough. So just kind of seeing him just very scared for this poor frog that's bleeding out, just immediately going to toss a healing word to him just to make sure that he's hanging in there. So I mean, this is gonna be a lot of like little rolly rolls, but first of all, healing word. I'm gonna yeah, first is fine. I have like so many mods. So that's 9 healing from that, and then the 5. This is from the chalice. So an additional 12.
Nice.
So 22 healing to him.
That brings him up quite a bit, and he is over half HP now as his
We love to hear it.
wounds begin to seal up.
Main action. I'm gonna go on a limb and say this thing is bigger than large, judging by the size.
I
So-
believe it is considered gargantuan.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm just gonna sort of like take some of that sort of healing light, coalesce it into the core of her starlight energy in her chest, and just kind of take it out the other side, and it turns into more of like a radiant fire. I'm just gonna, toss a nice little produce flame at it. Which
Okay.
25, I believe.
25 will in fact hit. Go ahead and roll for damage.
A 7 fire damage.
Very good. Meaningful damage.
That is my turn.
That is your turn. Up next is Zuza.
All right. Oh dear. Well, I was going to try to experiment to see if it's just like the most recent thing that attacked it, but I feel like it's, at least even as an animal intelligence, it's smart enough to know this thing has really, really, really hurt it, so it's probably gonna just keep going after Valentine. All right, well, oh dear. Why did you minimize the character sheet? Let me see it again. Character sheet, what are you doing? Alright. I want to test out this new draining bite. I don't think I want to do it against something that is big enough to eat me, though. That didn't go great the last time.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Let's see, instead... Oh, hold on. Would that work? Let me... Sorry, I just need to check something very quickly. No, I have a feeling this thing doesn't understand a language, damn. Okay. Right, well, Valentine, dear, you may want to fire in quite excess. Ashala, I believe that we'll have to simply give some form of covering assistance or distraction at the very least. And I am also going to use a character sheet. Where do you keep going? I need you.
I know that feel.
Right. Let's see. Alright. Then I would like to use good. Rallying Mark. There we go. Bonus action. I am going to. Bonus action. I am going to spend 2d6 of my Warlord dice to do this first. So let me roll that real quick. That's
10,
1. It's 2.
16.
Oh, sorry. I think the charisma should only apply to one of those, so that would be 11, I believe. All right. So that means the next time damage is rolled against the target by an allied creature before the start of my next turn, you add this to the attack roll, and the attacking creature regains hit points equal to the amount rolled, so 11 HP.
Okay.
All right, and to help give Ashala the advantage, I will go over here, so I am providing sneak attack opportunity. Okay.
Is that the end of your turn?
Yep, I think that's all of my things.
Okay. It is now time for the Megapede.
Oh no.
Seeing all of this happen, and as it's being surrounded, it is just going to start full barreling. 5, 10. And is going to seem like it's making a sort of dive towards Ashala before kind of shooting off to the side, giving Zuza an opportunity attack.
Sure. You know what? Let's try. Let's try taking a bite. Come on. 25. for the
25.
bite.
That will work.
You look-
Go ahead and roll for
You look a
damage.
bit pale, dear. Let's make that worse. That is 5 piercing and 4 cold.
For a total of 9.
Uh,
5.
okay, let's see.
Or no,
I
5.
have no missing HP, so I guess I will get that as a bonus to the next ability check or attack roll I make.
20, 25, 30, 35. And it's going to stop right there, surrounded by a lot of people. And it's going to take all its mandibles, clang, 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 and just screech. And begin draining.
Oh no!
Seemingly draining not much, but breathes in for a total of 5 necrotic damage from everyone within 15 feet. So I believe that almost exclusively just hits Ashala and Valentine.
Ow.
Yep.
It does not heal anything. Actually, no, everyone has to make a DC 15 Constitution save first, actually.
Ooh, nat 20.
Half as much
Damn,
damage.
Valentine?
So that's 2 points of damage to Valentine and the full 5 to Ashala.
I can't believe it only rolled 5 damage on a 3d10.
go.
Feels so bad.
I was nervous.
It is now going to press forward and plunge with its pincers at Valentine.
No. Ow.
That's
Nope,
a nat
nope,
20.
That's a nat 20.
Nope. Lucky dice. Lucky. Nope.
Do you have lucky?
I have lucky.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
No, thank you.
Rolls another crit.
If it rolls another crit, it was destined to happen.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, to be fair, with the lucky feat, you get to choose which out of the 3 you
This is
pick, but
true.
Still.
I believe it technically already has the second roll with the 23.
That's fine. It's not a nat 20. So yes, that would hit.
Okay. Wait. That's.
So go ahead and roll me a Constitution saving throw.
That's rolling like the crit damage, though.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, let me hit that
so
one more time.
You would ignore one of those.
Ow! Alright. It was nice knowing you guys.
Okay, a 7. So yes, unfortunately you are taking the poison damage in addition, so that is
I'm down.
a total of 50.
Oh no!
I'm down.
As it full barreling speed charges in and just picks up Valentine and just crunches and then just drops Valentine before whipping itself around and glaring at everyone else around it.
Right.
Ashala, you're up.
Oh boy, I can't wait. Well, let's see. If I'm not mistaken, was I given another?
Yes. I gave one to you and to the late Valentine.
Okay. And I think we had a bonus of 11 to hit it.
Yes.
Okay, I think it'd be probably a good opportune time to use my bonus action to take the aim action
Okay.
with one of my attacks, because I think I need the sneak attack. So we shall do that. Thank you, game. So that'd be 15 plus 11, so 26.
That will
Okay.
absolutely hit. Go ahead and roll for damage.
Yay.
Thank fuck. Alas, we roll abysmally. And by a bit, actually,
16
1, 1.
is significant damage.
Yeah, no, you're right. I see it in red, and I just think, oh, that's abysmal. But no, it's actually not too bad. So yeah, that's fine. So do 16 psychic damage. I guess since I have the extra attack, I may as well go for it again. With just a regular.
Yep.
A 19.
19, that will hit. Go ahead and roll for damage.
This time with no sneak attack, so I'll turn off that global modifier. For another 9
points of damage. How would you like to defeat this creature?
Yeah!
Oh,
Let's
bish!
go.
Okay, I just like the idea of just seeing after Valentine gets knocked down, this thing turning around and like surveying like everyone from afar, but then just not like realizing its feet as Ashala kind of leaps up from one leg to the other, and just takes 2 psychic daggers and just kind of go straight for the brainstem of wherever this thing is with its psychic daggers.
Excellent. Okay.
And just short-circuiting this entire megapede.
As it kind of whips its head around to investigate, it's kind of picking out its targets, everything that's hurt it the most, and it kind of glares, not sure who to pick next. When it doesn't feel, you automatically just jump up, grab one of its legs, and pull yourself high, and you stab one directly underneath it, trying to cut into it, and it's not quite cutting it, and it's sort of flipping around, and before it even can flip itself back towards the ground, you sort of launch yourself up using the momentum to get on top of it and stab right into the backwards brainstem, and it just unleashes mind blasts forward over and over and over again, trying to stop you, but it can't seem to do it as it's unleashing all of the psionic potential in its brain before finally collapsing. You have defeated the Megapede.
Yay!
Hell yeah.
I have to imagine Lyra is currently just kind of like softly under her breath, just like no, and is just like sprinting over to Valentine. And it's just going to kind of rub her hands together and going to cast a good old Cure Wounds at 3rd level. So that'd be 3d8 and then 21 plus, and then with the chalice. So a total of 31 health back into her.
Oh.
Oh, plus 1d4. The Vods. So,
Wow.
A lot.
That is quite the HP. Alright. Groma, watching all this unfold, is going to very quickly run back into the building and then reemerge very quickly, carrying what seems to be a very large bowl of soup,
Oh, buddy.
Oh, good.
and is going to sort of squat down and hold the bowl of soup.
You try it.
Oh.
That make you feel a little bit better.
Oh, Robert, you are the sweetest frog I've ever had the pleasure of meeting.
Are you?
Takes a little spoonful of his soup.
Is it feeling any better?
It's quite the hot soup. Go ahead and roll a d8.
Oh no! A D8.
Yes.
Oh,
8.
8 fire damage. Let's go.
You feel yourself. It's quite the hot soup, and it burns your tongue a little bit, but it's so good that you almost can't help yourself but take like another little spoonful of the broth, and feel rejuvenated for another 8 points of healing.
Oh.
Hey.
Good soup.
Good soup.
Yeah, good soup.
That did the trick. Thank you.
Yeah, sorry about that. I mean, I guess it kind of happens every now and then with the underside.
Is
You
this
know.
a common occurrence?
I don't know. I mean, once every like week or so, there's something.
Every week.
I suppose.
Goodness. That's far too often.
Yeah, like sometimes the people who pull in the asteroids that get attached to the bottom of the fleet, there's like creatures inside them, and sometimes they get loose and they come up through the mines. But
Oh.
sometimes they say that the slaves that go into the lower sections of the mines, they're supposed to kind of handle it, but it seems like that doesn't really happen too much anymore. It seems like I think it just kills them. It just eats. We're feeding slaves to the worms, and then all the other things, and then it comes up here and then eats everyone else.
Oh,
Well,
good heavens.
It's not exactly sustainable what goes on
No,
down here.
no, not at all. I'm not a fan.
you should really
Not a
unionize.
fan.
I'm really I'm glad I have a job. Sometimes
You have a job too, Grover.
yeah, they got the arena, and personally, if I was in that shoe, I'd probably take the arena over going into mines. It's a scary place down there. Yeah.
I can imagine.
Yeah, if if you guys want to, take a breather, I mean, the ramen shop over there is pretty good, I think.
Oh, I could
Never had a raw man before.
Oh no, not a raw man. I mean, if you want something like that, I mean, I guess you could get it at the market. I didn't like it though. It's not great.
Woo! I'm going to pretend I did not hear that, Grover, to keep my pristine image of you intact. But I do think that I could certainly do with a bit of a rest.
Yeah, I mean, come along. I think the guy will be pretty happy that we helped out.
And you all sort of make your way towards the cute, adorable little ramen shop on the side streets. And the shopkeep is unbelievably thankful that you prevented his shop from being absolutely devastated by this burrowing creature. And everyone gets a nice 1d8 ramen. We're gonna call it 8 healing for everyone if you're hurt at all, and if you're not hurt,
1d8 ramen.
add it as temp HP.
Let's go.
Oh, temp HP. That's some good ramen.
Mm.
Clearly must be the culinarian feat.
Mm.
So, what are you guys up to? I didn't think you guys would be hanging around down here. I thought you guys would be I don't know, doing cooler stuff than hanging out around here.
Well, I believe we still had some things that we needed to check in with down here. Some people.
Oh, I mean, do you guys need any help getting there, or are you guys good?
Oh, far be it from me to refuse a gentleman.
Oh, well, I guess I can show you around a little bit.
We are heading to Phineas. If that changes your ideas.
Oh, the casino? I mean, I was actually looking to go there, like, tomorrow, but I guess I can go today.
I don't mean to interrupt your schedule.
No, I mean, it's no biggie. I mean, I should probably be careful. I don't want to get too sucked in. I'm getting sucked in tomorrow anyway. They got some big tournament over there. I've been saving up a lot to participate. I'm starting off with
participating.
I'm starting off with a little bit of a disadvantage. You have to have like 100,000, but I only have like 10K, so.
You need 100,000 just to participate.
Yeah, it's pretty high stakes, but I mean that's more if you want to start on like the even playing field. I'm just going in with what I got.
What happens if you go in with just what you've got?
You just if it's a 10K bet and you lose 10K, you're out.
Oh.
But I'm pretty solid at cards. Trust me, I'm pretty good.
And then he pulls out this little, like, very colorful deck that's seemingly drawn in crayon and proceeds to spaghetti and spill it all over the floor. And goes,
Oh, honey.
and then proceeds to start gathering them all up and just kind of shoves them all back in the little card carrier. And then he like goes to put it away, and then it all pops out the other side because the other side of the card case opens.
That was quite impressive. Oh, that was bad.
Oh, the cards? I mean, yeah, I guess.
It's just not even sure why he said that. Just keeps putting his cards away.
Oh. Groper, far be it from me to be an expert in these things, but are you quite certain you wish to compete? I mean, 10,000 is it's a large sum of money.
I've been told I'm hard to read. But I don't know if that's because I'm a grunk. So I kind of just ignore people when they say that.
Far be it from us to stop you from pursuing your passions.
Oh, I mean, I appreciate that. I don't want to keep you guys any longer. Let's go. Let's go get to the casino.
Yes. No, that sounds all right.
Is something the matter? I mean,
Well, I suppose my sister did just kind of get.
No, I'm please. Just because my spine broke in half a few minutes ago, I'm ready to go.
We could also call the Robin break a short rest.
I mean, you may say so, but it doesn't make me feel much better, if I'm being honest.
No, please, Lyra, I'm perfectly all right. Between Grober's soup and the raw men, I'm in tip-top shape.
you know, I thought it was some pretty good stuff. I usually come around here. But yeah, no, that shop is pretty. You know, not too many people go there. It's one of those hole in the wall spots. I guess it's hole in the floor since creatures are coming out of the floor and we're in the floor. But you get what I mean, right?
Of course.
All right, but if we're all good, let's go.
After you, my good frog.
And then Groba will proceed to begin leading the way. Proceeding through the remainder of the districts. You finally make your way through and end up at the Grand Pyramid. One would imagine that with the silver pyramid, that the interior would match somewhat on the inside. But upon entering, it is evident that the owner did not have much concern for consistent aesthetics. But it is clear that they would have made the entire thing in gold if they were not in the midst of a pirate colony. You take in the sights of the grand lobby, statues and relics of countless planets, cultures, and societies lining the walls, and it doesn't take long for its proprietor, Finia, to approach. I'm missing all of my handouts for some reason. Why am I missing all of the handouts?
It's okay. Take your time.
There they are. The casino.
Ooh.
And then finally, Finia. Ah, my crystal dragons. You've finally returned to the nest. Finia seems to have changed a fair bit since you last saw her. Her hair is shorter, her outfit is seemingly much more practical, yet a lot more regal for her role as owner of what may be the most wealthy establishment on the fleet.
Yes, we figured it would be a good idea to stop by to discuss a few matters with you. But I understand that it is quite a busy time of the day, or month, or year, or what.
It's
I apologize.
money-making season, I would say that much at least. With the big arena fight today going on probably about like an hour or so, I'd say that's going on. Lots of betting gets done down here, and tomorrow is going to be our big, tournament. I actually was hoping that you guys would stop by. I actually needed some extra hands on this project.
Really? And what did you have in mind, precisely?
Before we talk about that, let's go somewhere a little bit more private, I'd say. And she kind of leans over just a little bit and sees Ashala. Now, you are a new face that I'm not familiar with.
I do believe this will be our first time meeting.
Phinia will go ahead and walk over to you specifically, and you start to realize that she is quite tall. She's about 6'2". She's quite the large elf.
Sheesh.
And she sort of reaches her hands down to shake your hand with both of hers. A pleasure.
She takes her hand with gusto and gives her a good shake. Likewise.
Now then, let's talk business. And she leads you all into sort of the back section where there's a sort of really nice hallway that goes up a flight of stairs and leads into an office that's on the second floor but seems to look over the entirety of the casino. So, it's been a minute. We have quite a bit of catching up to do. Let's start with the most important thing. Clearly, with this space storm, we're not going to arrange a force to go fight some Githyanki warlords. That's just impractical. But at the same time, if we're not moving, they're not moving either. So that's a bit of positive, bit of negative. But I did, in fact, have something interesting. In your heist that you had done for me way back when, you actually got something pretty interesting for me. You got me a psionic crystal of some kind. I don't think it's actually worth everything that it claimed to be, and looking at that fabricated book guide that they had at the auction, I'd imagine that they knew that they weren't handling something particularly of value themselves. But at the same time, it seems like our Githyanki friends, and she turns towards Ashala, no offense, want that crystal. I have that crystal, and it seems like they're sending some people to get it. That's where you all come in. I could just hide it away, but I have a feeling that that might be a little bit difficult, considering that whoever is seemingly leading the charge into here is somewhat aware of my own personal movements. As you might remember, I had informed you a while ago about fleet movements of mine being stopped and trade routes being captured by the Githyanki, and that's unusual because I don't take flight routes that anyone else takes in Spelljammers. So that would mean that someone internally is leaking my information. I don't like leaks. In that case, what we're going to have you do is we're going to have you participate in this little tournament. I know for a fact that this informant of theirs is participating in the tournament, and they're likely running out of money. So you intercept some communications to the Gith. They're running out of funds, and they're being told, get that psionic crystal, or we're going to come and kill you. And personally, I'd probably try and get the psionic crystal. So we can try and do it a pretty straightforward way, where we have, I don't know if any of you are good at cards. One of you can go ahead and attempt to, let's say, win it, the tournament. And the rest of you, as a bit of extra security, will go through my own vault and steal it from me. A sort of heist on myself. And I can claim that I have no knowledge of said item, or that I can claim that it disappeared from my inventory. Personally, I think it's not even worth the effort, and I could just give it to you, but I don't think that that would go very well.
You're
Ah,
thinking of
yes.
public face, so to speak.
Exactly. More importantly, I have to stress this. As much as I would love to eradicate this individual, I don't know who it is. In fact, I've narrowed it down to 4 separate people, and all 4 of them are playing in the tournament, which is frustrating, to say the least. And, more importantly than that, I consider my casino something of a sanctuary. No fighting happens in here, or you disappear off the fleet, and maybe we'll find you in a couple years when the fleet circles back. Something like that.
Well, it seems very agreeable. Which of us would be the best at cards then?
That's up to you.
Well, I have mentioned that I have some skill in cards. I don't know if I consider myself the best, but
Well, I suppose I've dallied with some other forms of gambling and games of chance as well. If you have the cards, I suppose I can try for perhaps a dice, if such are availed here.
Well, unfortunately, it is a bit of a tournament of sorts, and I suppose that the most direct way is that everyone is going to be playing cards, as that yields the highest amount of monetary exchange. There are, in fact, other methods, and the tournament is to make as much money as you can, and whoever earns the most will also receive the psionic crystal.
Well, that's what they think, at least.
There are some alternatives. I'm unfamiliar if you're aware of some of these games. We have blackjack, dice-based blackjack. We have a con spinner, hand of fate. And we have something of a matching game. Haven't quite come up with a catchy name for it yet, but this is something of a newer enterprise, so.
I'm certainly no good liar, and from what I know, that is important, so I'm going to sit this one out.
Well, perhaps we should arrange for. We should arrange for several entrants, one of whom could drop out, an arranged defeat at some point, if need be, to assist with the more surreptitious of the tasks.
If you all have the funds to participate in multiple entries, I'm certainly not opposed. But keep in mind, this is fairly high stakes hand of fate. You're going to be doing quite a bit of high value gambling. I believe we're going to be going minimum 1,000 entry.
Well, I believe we're good for that.
If that's the case, I'm certainly find it agreeable. If you really, truly need, I believe I can loan you some funding, but if I'm to believe correctly, I heard that you won quite well in the arena. Very good work on that, by the way. Made me quite a bit as well.
Well, all in a day's work of near-death experiences.
So, regarding this heist, on the other hand in particular, as I said, there's no violence allowed in the casino. But that wouldn't stop if I was say, unaware of it. Keep in mind that you are going up against some of my own personal army. We call them the Gold Cloaks. And should I ever run into a situation where I need to demonstrate some power against some of my rivals on the surface, as you may be aware, they would be the ones who would take the charge. All of them are fairly well-trained assassins. I would recommend avoiding combat when possible, but should you need to, a blind eye may be turned.
If you don't mind the question, what sort of, well, guard do you have against any sort of magical manipulation? There are, especially in the presence of psychic attuned folks that can read others' minds, it does present a bit of an unfair advantage.
Some of them have trained in some psionic arts, but they're not necessarily going to fight with them. Many of them are the cloak and dagger type.
Oh, I'm also meant in the players of this said card game.
Ah, yes. In that... Well, I suppose everyone has their own little way of cheating. There's only so much that can be done, and it's sort of a... It's only cheating if you get caught type of scenario. After all, what are we but a den of thieves?
Right. So, am I to believe that should we engage in this bit of skullduggery on your behalf, that we are to be doing so without the safety net of other members of your guild being in on the con, so to speak?
Indeed, and I will say, if you end up getting caught, I may have to disavow you and take some unfortunate actions. So please do be careful.
Of course.
If we get this to work, we can catch the informant. We can likely catch the Gith, who are going to come anticipating this psionic crystal. Then we can possibly get some information out of them. That will lead us to the slave encampments or their slave routes, which we can then use to find good old Mac's family. Use that to rescue them. And then, finally, get what we are hoping for out of Mac.
Right. I see. Now, you mentioned having something of an inkling as to, at the very least, a rogues gallery of sorts as to who might be behind this leakage. Could that perhaps be a bit of information shared?
I suppose, since you are helping me in the majority of this heist, there's going to be... How many individuals is it now? I've lost track after some time and seeking. I believe there's going to be, if one of you joins, there's going to be 7 individuals participating. 4 of which are persons of interest. One of them being a fellow by the name of Randall Jenkins, I believe his name was. Quite an interesting wizard fellow. Another one is, I believe he chose to write his name as Alexander the Swift, the Handsome, and so on and so forth.
I was wondering when that dear man would make another appearance.
He's quite fond of this
Steph
place.
Brannigan ass motherfucker.
He's run quite a few missions for me, and I would be quite disappointed if it turns out that he is the informant. But it seems whenever a heist goes wrong, he shows up here and proceeds to leave with a mountain of gold coins, and I can't explain how he does it. No one in the house can explain how he does it, and no one can prove how he does it, and we can't necessarily just ban him from the casino. But he's unbelievably lucky. I'd reckon that he's possibly the most threatening person in the tournament.
Yes, I once saw him throw some manner of space frog at a spaceship. It was truly unsettling.
As you say space rug, you see Grova is kind of just sitting down at like the blackjack table.
Oh no!
And he's just like, he puts the cards down and he starts counting on his frog fingers.
Oh.
Seems to be struggling to remember what goes to 21.
Oh.
He's very good at this.
He's pretty good, I guess.
But beyond Alexander, there is an individual by the name of Corva Carval. They've done the occasional quest for me, though they did disappear recently. I'm surprised they're back so soon after seemingly going on such a big investigation. I had thought that they had something else to spend their coin on. And lastly is someone who's a bit of a former spy for me, but they seem to have disappeared until now. In fact, I think they might have gotten a bit caught up in that little heist that you had done for me with the Solar Winds. Go by the name of Nova, if that rings any bells.
Nova.
I believe they were on, well, the crew that took us to the fleet, if memory serves. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Hell yeah!
Whoa. Big brain plays.
And they were part of the ship affectionately referred to as the Rum Job.
That's right. Yep.
I forgot about that.
As you suddenly recall, the ship seemed to have... It was not the greatest of condition, and it seems that the original name was painted over, so it seems like someone made the executive decision to change the name of that ship. In addition, you also, Zuza in particular, remember the name Corva Carval.
Zuza definitely remembers it. I am at a loss.
If you remember our dear friend Snareline Art, who joined us for a singular session.
Oh,
That's
yes. That's the one that I swore I would kill if I ever saw again.
I would recommend that you do not participate in the card games.
Oh, please. I'm more than capable of leaving my blood vendettas aside.
But yes, dear Corva did quite a few objectives for me. And then they received something of a better offer from someone else, which I was astounded by. But it's not every day that you see a Carval, and you have to do your best to keep them in your best interests.
Oh, something of a clan?
Yes, quite the notable group of assassins, if I do say so myself. The lineage goes back several thousand years, and they seem to have spread all over wild space, but there's tell of the original Carval, who was claimed so good that if someone were to hire him to assassinate a god, he might be able to do it.
Quite a boast for lineage that is stooped to common thievery.
So it would seem.
Definitely not still very, very bitter about this.
She sort of claps her hands together and goes, "So, any questions, thoughts, concerns?"
Well, I'm certainly concerned with the rather distinct possibility of the professional requirement of betrayal of our party should we be caught, but
As
I'm not
opposed
sure.
to the last time, I understand that I sort of gave you a bit of a trial run and didn't give you much in the way of direction. That was a bit unfair of me, but you did well, regardless. In this case, I'm going to be as clear as possible. On the 4th floor is going to be one of my Gold Cloak commanders. At the time of the tournaments begin, there is going to be a shift change as we brace ourselves for the crowd that we are certainly sure to see. One of you, or more of you, will go up there and incapacitate that individual and take a lockbox key from the individual. That team will then progress to the 3rd floor and disable a vent security system, while another one of your members, I'd imagine your new Gith friend, and she gives a sort of smirk towards Achala, will sneak through the vents and proceed from the 2nd floor to the 5th floor. While this is going on, you will have someone, perhaps on the guest floor, the 3rd floor, or maybe even the main lobby, cause a bit of a commotion. And that will distract some of our newly active guards while they are reinforcing, trying to cover up for the inconsistency in their gap of security systems. And your new member will go and unlock the security door. You will have to go to the security room on the 5th floor and determine the correct treasury box. I have my gold cloaks shift the items and the contents within quite regularly to ensure that any thief is caught red-handed. There's a number of security systems that will not be disabled in the lockbox room, and I warn you not to get caught by those. This is more a test of my security more than anything else.
Splendid.
But you will go in, get the psionic crystal, put the lockbox away, lock the box right up, and then go back to the dear Gold Cloak Commander and return the key, and disappear. All the meanwhile, you'll have an individual attempting to assist me in bankrupting our individual.
So then if we are not on the same page as this god, I assume you mean us to accomplish this all before he wakes or is freed or somehow escapes the incapacitation?
Do as you see fit. But ideally, yes, you would sort of return things to their natural state, as best possible. At the most, I know that my gods are designed for similarly an equivalence of non-lethality, which is quite a bit against their training. So they tend to operate by something of a 3 strikes rule. The first time, they will simply tell you to leave. The second time, they will escort you out, and the third time, they will be violent. I'm certain you all know how to count to 3 and be careful.
That at least I think we can manage.
Hmm.
But keep in mind, these guards are considerably more dangerous than the individuals that you trifled with at the Solar Winds. Though that fire giant might have been a bit of an equivalent, I'd say.
Wonderful. So then,
But should your card game champion be successful, perhaps you might not even need to have this secondary team. So you have all the time in the world, essentially, to get this going.
and the tourney is to begin and end tomorrow, was it?
It may go a bit longer depending on how well everyone competes, but given some of the competition, I'm uncertain as to how well that will go. Ideally, it would take within a day. Any other questions?
Can anyone else think of anything else?
I don't know, the plan seems pretty simplistic. Although I do have to inquire when it comes to the games. While I understand there is a a consensus on the pacts of non-aggression. I'm sure. I'm assuming certain espionage or sleight of handing the game in question to tip the odds in our favor is something that is looked down upon here. Assuming one is caught.
It is entirely on the table as long as you don't get caught. In fact, I did actually make an arrangement, if you are planning to enter, for whoever you choose to have participate will get the seat next to the dealer, so you will get the advantage of seeing everyone else play first and then react accordingly.
Right.
Gives us options.
Asala, would you be able to... Well, you would have a very good ability to cheat, given your knack for
Mind reading.
mind reading and speaking to us in our minds as well.
I suppose, but do keeping in mind that while I'm traipsing around in the mind of others, one could find that their mindscape is being rifled through, and much like anyone with a sleight of hand, much like mine. And if one would catch on, then well,
There would
Then
be
it's game over.
consequences. Yes.
yes.
I apologize. I was not fully aware how this could work.
I suppose that would also somewhat limit us if we were to attempt something of a cloak and dagger approach as well.
That's,
Well, I do believe that Valentine would be quite good at this. Do you feel confident, dear?
Always.
Always.
I'm uncertain how good you are at sleight of hand, but if you're interested in practicing, she sort of reaches under the table of her desk and then pulls out a deck of cards and sets them in front of you. This is the exact type of deck that we are going to be using tomorrow. I suggest you get familiar with it, and I've seen the way that you handle your guns. I'd imagine that having these appear and disappear within your dress would be quite easy for you to do.
There's no manner of marking that the casino uses for security.
Forgive me, I had something else on my mind. Repeat that one more time.
So then I take it there's no means of marking that that the casino uses for card security.
Well, I suppose that there is some, but it's more of a insider secret, and as long as it's our cards, you won't be able to cheat any other way using card swapping. Counting cards, however, that is something of a specialized skill that I think others might be able to do.
Mm.
And more importantly, I don't think it necessarily matters if you're able to read others well enough.
Hmm.
Well, sounds like there's a bit of a plan.
I think we should retire at some early convenience to go through the details therein. We have something of a floor plan, courtesy of our hostess.
Indeed, I could see about having that provided to you as well.
Oh, yes, that would be marvelous of you if possible.
And if, of course, if you'd like, you're free to peruse and get some practice in some of the facilities. They're all available to you at a considerably lower cost than what they will be tomorrow.
Ah. Very well. I do wonder if we could perhaps do a spot of shopping. I am feeling as though something perhaps a potion of a poison of sleeping, or perhaps something akin to a truth-telling serum could be awfully terribly useful.
Goodness, you are thinking underhanded.
Yes, well, a warden must keep all options open.
Phineas sort of leans back in her chair and kind of looks out the window and sees there is a individual wearing a gold cloak who kind of like gestures like a circle. And she turns and goes, it would seem that the final gold match is ongoing in the tournament in the arena above. If you'd like a shortcut, I could be able to provide, but you might not catch most of the match. I do believe you have box seats now that you've gotten quite close to Lord Lex Frigate.
I hadn't realized.
Simply being champions of the bronze division, it's not big of a thing.
Indeed, quite the notoriety.
Might be worth.
I suppose it couldn't hurt to have some light listening on in the background as we discuss.
Indeed, I will go ahead and lead you towards the swift exit, and I will await you in the morrow to see your decision. Should you need any resources, I'm sure you'll know where to find any of my agents. And Phinia will stand and sort of direct you guys towards what seems like you're going down in the facility. You go below the base floor of the pyramid. And as you keep progressing, you feel a little bit nauseous for a quick moment as you're heading down a long set of stairs. Almost like gravity is being inverted on you. And then you end up actually on the opposite side, and you realize that you actually are going upwards. And you're actually near a sort of safe house just outside of the arena on the surface.
Oh, that's fantastic.
A sort of sleight of hand trick of my own.
Yes, you seem to have all manner of tricks up your sleeve.
Now then, I believe you have an arena match to watch, and I have a gold to win. Goodbye, see you soon. And she sort of waves you all off.
Right, well. Quite the personality on that one.
Rather like her.
I don't think you can get to be a guild leader on the fleet without having at least a modicum of personality.
Oh, I suppose that would be rather silly.
Do we all feel comfortable with the situation?
Well, I suppose it would do no harm in perhaps ironing out what precisely is to be done by whom. And who's to say, perhaps with the draw of this tourney, we may see and even be able to investigate some of these suspects here as well.
Indeed. Then I suppose that leaves the matter of the secondary jobs. Athala, I know that you would likely be the best person to be stealthy in this situation, but we also need to make a distraction.
Well, I've been told that I can be very distracting. I certainly wouldn't be opposed to attempting something like that. You know, perhaps if it's several of us, I could get incensed at a perceived slight or cheat on one of our parts.
I mean, do whatever it is that you think would work best, I would say, but we don't want to make it. While a distraction is necessary, it probably shouldn't seem like we're making a distraction.
Oh, of course, of course.
More so, just something bad that would happen and capture attention.
Mm.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't exactly know how it is I can help in this situation, but I shall support all of you to the best of my ability.
Well, you do have quite a number of talents as a druid. I dare say it perhaps may not be the last time we're to avail of your arachnid gifts.
You could be correct. I suppose that would be rather stealthy, but it's a matter of getting out to where it's undiscovered.
Yes, rather would require. I suppose it would require at least two of those. What do you call those enchantments you do to slip in and out again?
A wild shape, I believe.
Yes, I suppose it would require at least two of those if I'm to assume that things you have on your personage somehow meld into your body.
By the way, Zuza, if you don't mind,
Yes.
are you feeling all right?
Um, well, I have been feeling rather hot under the collar, if I'm being fully honest.
That's not exactly what I meant. I more so. I mean, you did find out that well over half a dozen of your family members are no longer with us. That was worrying me a bit.
Yes. I was never particularly good at acknowledging such ugly feelings as grief. It's very unbecoming, of course, as I'm sure the two of you with your similar upbringings are aware of. I'm not entirely sure what to make of it myself. I haven't spoken to my family in quite some time. It's a shortcoming of mine, I suppose.
Hmm.
I can't say that I have much in the way of experience for dealing with it. We haven't exactly lost anybody. The Von der Heist household. Though apparently our father seems to be some sort of incredible do-it-all, fix-it-all man.
Quite remarkable from what I've heard.
The same amount that we've heard, my dear.
Hmm. But I suppose it's rather similar to that. What is that old folksy belief? Aching in one's joints portends bad weather. I suppose I've been feeling rather hungrier, rather more keenly attuned to my genetic duty than usual.
Well, I believe we said it best earlier that at least for today the vibes are off.
As you
Yes.
consider the hunger, which had seemingly subsided, it's as it had gone from a ravenous desire to witness carnage or perhaps even engage in it, and got toned down quite a bit. It's now turned into something of a sense of unease and a stomach ache as you sort of approach the arena.
I've something of a gut feeling. I can't quite explain it. It feels uneasy.
When we go back home to rest tonight, please take a hot bath or something. Maybe that would help.
Perhaps.
As you,
Something about the tourney, though, it doesn't quite sit right somehow. I can't quite place a finger on it.
as you all press onwards, the fleet's arena is almost entirely packed by the time that you arrive, but fortunately, your recent championship has awarded you seats within relative proximity to the Draconic Pirate King. You've arrived late, it seems. The gold championships are over from the looks of things. The arena is seemingly coated in a blanket of white snow, stained red from viscera and blood scattered around. A strange individual stands on one end of the arena, their Thry-Keen allies walking back into the competitor pit rooms, and an icy gaze is fixed upon the Pirate King. The golden-voiced goblin announcer could be heard with his excitement from outside the arena. Lex Frigate, however, seems incredibly displeased with the fact that the former gold championship team has been eviscerated. After such an incredible showing, Isolde, the Frozen Fury, is challenging the reigning platinum champion to a duel. It's difficult to get a glimpse of anything in the arena with all the dark red blood, but amidst it all, Isolde stands with reddish pink hair that drapes down to a darkened red. They are adorned in a form-fitting winter coat with some sort of armor underneath, wielding a long, bloodied estoc, which is a sort of longer form of a rapier. Despite challenging some of Lex Frigate's strongest pirates, Isolde is unscathed. This fight was a massacre. It wasn't long before the opposing gate opened and the Platinum Champion emerged, and the crowd begins to boo and jeer in his general direction. Clearly not a fan favorite. Here he comes, the Pirate King's mad dog, the ship cleaver, the Platinum Gate, the undefeated champion, Lucius! From all accounts, Lucius seems to be an astral elf, based on his armor's cultural appearance. Adorned in dark gray, white, and gold armor, he seemed to be more like the Federation's most intimidating enforcer. Unlike the standard astral elves, his armor was adorned with horns, the center of which feature a gem like a draconic eye, marking him as Lex Frigate's champion. Unlike the clear visors of the enforcers, Lucius's helmet revealed no information on the individual within. He carried a massive platinum blade, almost equal to his height and as wide as his torso. The crowd went silent as he struck the blade into the ground. And the tension in the arena began to build. You've done enough, slaughtering the rest of your competition. If you value your life, you'll surrender now. You've caused enough trouble. Isolde's smile was terrifying, as it could be seen from almost a ship away as it stretched from ear to ear. I don't think I've left a clear enough message for the one that I'm looking for. Isolde's head tilted to the side, as if eyeing a weakness in Lucius's armor. But killing you might just do it. The goblin announcer, seeming almost disturbed and unable to take control of the silence between the two. What a terrifying match! Where is our crowd? And the audience erupts into a roar. Let's have a match to make Star Chaser history. Let the fight begin! Isolde takes her estoc and began to cut into her own hand. Coating the blade in blood before swinging it towards Lucius, a wave of blood arcing towards the King's Knight. The Crucible Champion seemed to levitate for a moment in a spiraling movement, using magic to appear behind Isolde, seemingly misty stepping behind with a massive swing aimed for their neck. The sound of steel biting flesh was heard, and Isolde's head flew from their body, bounding once and coming to rest in the arena's sand. Their body stood as if unaware it had been decapitated. Lucius pierced his weapon into the ground and turned to the king. A pity. You seem stronger. It was only then that Lucius realized the blood all over the arena was rushing towards him in a torrent. He dove and grabbed his blade, using its width as a shield to protect himself against a strike fierce enough to clang and echo through the arena, pushing the champion back a step. The decapitated body dissolved into blood and joined the massive blow. Isolde stood tall, hardy and hale, having struck so forcefully, they cracked the magic blade. I'm pleased you're actually worth something. The smile was sickening as they jumped back, frozen wings emerging and pulling them to the opposite end of the arena. Lucius began a charge, dragging the heavy weapon behind him as it began to glow with light. Despite the weight, he was incredibly fast, but it would seem that Isolde planned to slow him down, small simulacrums of them appearing to strike and harass the knight, delaying him. As Isolde seemed to charge an icy spell of their own with the bloodied estoc. All at once, the fallen knight struck to the heavens, and the bloody angel began their onslaught. A massive blizzard struck the ground on their impact, but a smiting wave of light divided in half, extending so far as to crack the entire arena in half, not likely sparing any audience members in its path. A dense icy fog seemed to fill the arena. Once again, Lucius stood alone, now in an ominous mist. Incredible! The champion has devastated the arena and seemingly his opponent as well! No, wait, what's that? The arena was seemingly washed clean of the blizzard as well. Lucius quickly dropped, narrowly avoiding an incredibly fast blur that would have performed the same maneuver he attempted at the beginning. Multiple copies of Isolde began emerging as flashes of white lightning, attempting to quick piercing or slashing attacks at the champion, who was forced to focus on his defenses. Blocking with his sword, dodging and rolling, Lucius was pushed back to the center of the arena, allowing one of the Isolde clones to strike his leg while he countered. It brought him to a knee, but as the second one moved in, he grabbed them with his bare hand and struck them with the sword in another. A third was unable to stop him from cutting them down. Well, finally, the true Isolde once more ascended into the air to coup de grace the champion, only for him to muster up the strength to block and throw them back. Lucius stood, blood dripping out of the few weak points in his armor. Isolde seemed relatively untouched and moved forward to continue their onslaught, once again, this time attempting to pierce Lucius's helmet. But they were unprepared for him only to slightly dodge and take the hit against his armor, grazing him as he finally struck, swiftly uppercutting Isolde with the blade. The challenger was launched back, a true hit. Their metal armor slightly cracked and the leather clearly struck. A gash went across Isolde's forehead as blood dripped into their vision. Yes, more! Isolde shot forward, using the icy wings to repel them forward, lightning building in the blade. Lucius stood to meet the strike and began charging his own blade with another powerful smite, and prepared a maneuver similar to the beginning of the fight when a boom was heard from the Dragon King's box. Enough! The crowd went silent, and all turned to hear the word of Lex Frigath. I'll not have the two of you destroy our home and kill each other. We, the Star Chasers, are damned in eternal war in the pursuit of freedom. Cannot afford to continue this tradition. Given the numerous heads, it was uncertain if he was worried, angry, or disappointed. As your king, the words boiled in his throat. Isolde, I grant you the platinum rank. We will weather the storm with you at our side, not at our throats. As the audience returned to look at the arena, the two champions had seemingly stopped right before the killing blows. Isolde's weapon at Lucius's throat, Lucius prepared to continue his role as the Dragon King's executioner. The king raised his hand and turned to leave to his chambers. The nearby goblin announcer erupted. What a battle! We have a draw! Lucius did not hold his hand out to Isolde. He simply lowered his blade. Isolde did the same and turned back, walking away but stopping, as if they had forgotten something. And in that moment, Isolde turned their head towards the seat of the Crystal Dragons, locking eyes with Zuza in particular. A smile that would make a devil squirm began to creep across Isolde's face. Zuza, you feel the entire world around you begin to go dark. And the only thing you feel is hate, disdain. The vision tunnels in on Isolde, and it is only then that you feel the ravenous hunger of the wolf be silenced, as if Isolde held a grip on its throat. You notice, at that moment, the crest of Sylvana emblazoned upon Isolde's chest. You are not the only person here fighting the wolf within. And that is where we're going to end for tonight.
Oh,
Yo.
my god. Oh god.
Yeah, just beat her. You can do that, right?
Easy.
Jesus.
Holy shit.
Yeah, we suck compared to these guys.
They're like the superheroes of this world, and you guys are on your way up.
Man, I got crunched by a worm.
These guys are breaking apart the entire world, and we just got crunched. You were made into a snack.
You guys are gonna be, building up strength, and this is meant to be sort of a building training arc.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah, okay.
But it's clear that Isolde is very, very interested in Zuza.
Oh.
Hey yo,
Great.
let's go, Zuza.
Some nice family romance.
Oh
no.
God.
Oh no.
Hmm.
Yes, I hope you all enjoyed. I want to give special thanks once more to Distant Echoes and Burrowbound for providing us with the incredible soundtrack that you heard. It was definitely a lot of fun going through and finding soundtracks that work specifically for certain characters. Writing the Isolde fight to what I'm now using as Isolde's theme has been an absolutely amazing experience, and I think everyone should try and find a song for their antagonist when they're trying to write them. It's so much fun. Do it, please. I beg of you.
It really is fantastic. We should probably drop a link to that in the chat.
Yes, actually, if we do. I believe this works. Okay, it seems that the command is broken, but that's okay.
Hmm.
You can go to www.borrowbound.com, where you can look at all of their fantasy maps, RPG cities, and all of the soundtracks that they have composed, all through their Patreon. And if you don't like all of them, you can just pick the ones that you want, because that's how it works, and it's really cool. All the maps are incredibly detailed, as you can see here. I can zoom in and see like individual things. You can see like little boxes, little flowers. Every little detail has been considered in these maps, and it's so amazing. They include all the lore for these cities, so if you want to use these cities in your games, they're all available to you if you subscribe to their Patreon. Once more, and a different thank you in particular, thank you to Frog Shop. Thank you so much for all of these characters that we've seen today in the art. It's absolutely amazing. They're all beautiful.
They've been incredible.
I love all of them so much. And yeah, we hopefully have a few more that we get to see coming soon. Though we are going to take a bit of a extended break because we have some stuff going on the anticipated next date of the 18th, which means that the next time we'll be back will be June 1st, if that works with everyone.
Yeah.
I
think
think
so.
so.
So yeah, we're unfortunately gonna have to take a bit of a longer break, but it will definitely have to be an exciting time to come back to. And I apologize for leaving on such an exciting cliffhanger, but I know I wanted to get through at least this part.
Hell yeah.
That's great.
So let's see who is around. Let's see. We've got all sorts of individuals. You know who we're going to raid? We're going to visit our friend. I'm gonna completely misspell that because I'm looking away. Mochi Zukiyoru, who is doing a sort of subathon right now. They had come back from a pretty intensive surgery. They're an absolutely wonderful individual. They're completely adorable. Wizard friend. We love them. They're incredibly cool and fun. They do all sorts of fun stuff, and they love to interact and give back to their audience. I think you will love to interact with them. I think they do art too. Yeah, they're doing some art projects right now. So let's go see what they're up to. And I hope to see you all in our next adventure soon. Farewell for now, and as always, safe travels. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
I love you. Bye.